If you don't already know, Terraria's next major update finally released after 3 long years of development. And among the many new features it brought to the game, one of, if not the biggest feature in this update, was the ability to combine secret seeds. While this is super neat on its own, we also got a ton of new special secret seeds, which are special Terraria worlds with rules and/or gameplay features that are only found in that secret seed. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a video going over all of them, so not only you can know how to make them, but also know what they do, which is exactly what I cover in this video. To start, we have multiple special secret seeds that are all basically normal worlds, but everything in them is painted over in a specific color and/or effect. The first one is called Paint Everything Gray, which you can make by using monochrome as your seed, with this one, unsurprisingly, turning everything gray. Then we have Paint Everything Negative, which you can make by using negative infinity as your seed, with this one giving the world a negative color effect. Moving on, we have Paint Everything Echo, whose seed phrase is Invisible Plane. And this gives you a world that is almost completely invisible, making it a pretty hard challenge. After that, we have Paint Everything Illuminant, which uses the seed X-Ray Vision, which gives you a world where all of the darkness is removed, making doing things like exploring and especially recording a lot easier. Moving on from the paint-based seeds and onto the seeds that really change up the worlds, we first have No Surface, which uses mole people as its seed phrase. This makes a world that is completely underground based, with there being no space biome, no surface, no beach, and so on. The next special secret seed is called Extra Living Trees, with its seed phrase being Save the Rainforest. This will make a world filled with living trees, which are the huge trees that usually have loot in them, but are also a pain to get around when exploring. So personally speaking, I think I'll be passing on this one. Then we have the Extra Floating Islands one, with its seed phrase being the Care Bears movie. And this, unsurprisingly, makes a world with a ton of floating islands, which, unlike the gigantic living trees, won't make your playthroughs harder by simply just existing in your world. At this point, we start to get into the insane special seeds that actually change up a lot about the world and gameplay, rather than a single and/or few small things like every seed I've covered up until this point, with our first one out of this bunch being Error World. You can make an error world by using I Am Error as your seed when making a world, and this will create a really messed up world, with biomes and structures being randomly placed throughout your world, ensuring that your playthrough will be filled with things you didn't expect. Moving on, the next special secret seed is called Graveyard Blood Moon Start, and that gives you a pretty clear idea of what this does from that alone. You can make one of these worlds using Night of the Living Dead as your seed, with this one making a world that starts you out at night with a blood moon going on, making the start of your playthrough much more challenging than normal. Then we have Surfaces in Space, with its seed phrase being Such Great Heights. This will make you a world where the surface, that is normally positioned in the middle of the world, will now be placed almost at the very top of the world, where space normally is. However, it doesn't change anything else. So you will have things like floating islands generating extremely close and/or in the surface level. After that, we have Rains for a Year, which completely changes the gameplay to revolve around rain. You can make one of these worlds by using the phrase Bring a Towel, and this will make a world where it's not only constantly raining, but one where you will also have to deal with new rain events, like coin rain, flooding, and even boulder rain. Next up, we have the Bigger Abandoned Houses, which uses the phrase Abandoned Manors as its seed. This seed may seem normal when you first spawn in, But once you start heading underground, you will start to find huge abandoned houses, even including the houses in the underworld biome as well. The next is short and sweet, which is random spawn. You make this world using How Did I Get Here as your seed, and all it does is make you spawn in a random location on the map, rather than the middle of the surface or the beach if you're using the celebration seed. Getting back to the interesting ones, up next we have Add Teleporters. The seed phrase for this world is Beam Me Up, and it will add a ton of teleporters that are linked to one another with pressure plates on top of them in the underground layers. After that, if you use the phrase Too Easy as your seed, then you will end up getting a world that starts out in hard mode, making things a lot easier, especially if what you want to do is locked behind hard mode. The next few seeds are all ones that make your entire, or at least most of your world, a specific biome. So I decided to group them all into one section, starting with the seed phrase Fish Mocks, which will give you a world that is clean of any evil biome, making it perfect for relaxed playthroughs and building. Then, if you use the seed phrase Purify when making a world, it will give you one that is completely infected with an evil biome, immediately making things harder from the second you start your playthrough. After that, if you use the phrase Toadstool when making a world, you will get a world where the entire surface is a mushroom biome, which is just like the world you get from using Sandy Bridges as your seed, as that will give you a world whose surface has been turned into a desert biome. Moving on, we have The World is Frozen, which you create by using Winter is Coming as your seed. This will give you a world that is entirely a snow biome, with the few biomes that aren't still having snow and ice spread throughout them, even extending into the underground layers, other than the sand biomes for whatever reason. Next up, we have one called Poo Everywhere. You make this world by using the phrase Truck Stop in your seed slot when making a world, and it will make a world that's filled with poo, like having pillars of it coming up from out of the ground. The next seed is one that a certain group of people will absolutely love, which is the No Spider Caves one. You make this world by using Arachnophobia, and as you might have guessed, this will make your world free of spider caves. But beware, if you have 4 or more other secret seeds active, then it will instead increase the number of spider nests in the world. In the same vein as the last seed, the next one that you can make using the More Traps Please as your seed phrase will give you a world without any traps, allowing you to explore your world without having to worry about things like boulders falling on you. However, there is one very important thing to note about this seed, which is that if you make this in a combo world with 4 or more other secret seeds in it, then it will instead do the opposite and actually increase the amount of traps in the world. Then we have Dig Extra Holes. You can make this world by using the phrase Jagged Rocks as your seed when making a world, and it will give you a world that has a ton of large chasms that lead directly into your world's underground biomes. Next up, we have Halloween Gen. You can make this by using the phrase Pumpkin Season in your seed slot when making a world, which will give you one that has pumpkins planted randomly throughout the world. Staying in the Halloween theme, the next seed is Endless Halloween. You make this by using Hocus Pocus as your seed when making a world, and it will then give you one where the Halloween event is always active, regardless of the date or how long it's been going on. Exactly like the last one, the next seed is Endless Christmas. You make this one by using the phrase Jingle All the Way in your seed slot when making a world, and it will give you a world where the Christmas event is constantly happening, regardless of the date or how long it's been happening for. After that, we have Portal Gun in Chests, which, like it may sound, will give you a world where you can easily find portal guns in the chests throughout it, which is normally something that you can only get by beating Moonlord. This was a seed that was figured out after I'd already recorded this section, so the phrase is what I have on screen now. Next up, we have team-based spawns. You make this one by using Royale with Cheese as your seed, and it's basically a normal world for the most part, up until you switch teams, as then you will be teleported to a random location, which is where your team's selected spawn will be. Moving on, we have Dual Dungeons, which has a weird situation for its seed phrase. Mobile and console users can use the phrase Dual Dungeons, but that's not not the correct one for PC, which I will have pinned in the comments below, as it's another to figure out the code for. Nonetheless, it will give you a world where you have 2 dungeons, which will house all of the world's biome. Then we have Extra Liquid. This odd one can be made by using Water Park as your seed when making a world, and it will give you a world that is entirely covered in water up until you start to reach lava or space. But luckily, you will have bubble blocks that generate over the world that will provide some safety. Moving on, we have Round Land Masses. This one can be made using planetoids as your seed phrase, and it will give you a world that is completely circular, giving you a very interesting experience that was really only possible with insane custom maps before. Next up, we have one called Rainbow Stuff. This world can be made using the phrase Rainbow Road in your seed slot when making a new world, and its main thing is that a lot of stuff in the world is changed to be colorful, like having rainbow floating islands, and also making rainbow items easily attainable, like rainbow torches, campfires, bricks, glow sticks, and much more. And for the final special secret seed this update adds, we have one called Vampirism, which you can make by using the phrase "what a horrible night to have a curse" as your seed when making a world. This will give you a world where you start out underground with the zoologist, but you will actually end up burning like a vampire if you go into daylight, forcing you to stay underground during the day. And that wraps up this video. While this is all of the new special secret seeds in the 1.4.5 update brought to the game, you can go watch my other video to see the secret seeds that were already in the game. Thanks for sticking to the end. Be sure to like and subscribe for more Terraria videos like this in the future. And as always, make sure to have a wonderful day.